the Midwest Angler Podcast.
Hello, fellow anglers. This is episode 3 of the Midwest Angler Podcast. I'm Scott Sturman.
And I'm Matt Deitch.
And first and foremost, we'd like to apologize for last week's episode. We noticed after we published it that the levels were a little off. Matt was pretty loud. I was pretty soft. That night we started off and we could not get our microphones going. And we tinkered around with them for 2 hours, and finally they decided that they were going to work. We decided, yep, let's start recording, and we really didn't pay close enough attention to where our levels were. Apologize for that, but hopefully this week we've got it figured out, and hopefully.
I think we got it figured out. I think that you went to work and got it done. I think that we should be loud and clear now.
Yeah,
most people think that, get confused because usually they think you're the loud one and I'm the quiet one. That's why people are probably the most confused.
That is true. And everyone knows that we're both computer nerds. And
oh, definitely. Tech savvy.
Yeah, we're good at computers. We're decent at fishing. And, so
we're pretty darn good looking, too.
That's one of both of our strong suits. We're going to start off today's show talking about the Scheels Ice Expo at Sioux Falls Scheels last weekend. Me, Matt, our friend Dusty, and
Mamba,
my friend, or my son Grady, we got to get up there. And Matt, what were some of your favorite things up there?
I think just seeing the good deals that were up there. I mean, all the way from the jigs, the terminal tackle, all the way up to they had great deals on augers, shacks. I mean, and just getting to see some of the, the professionals, you could say, in the industry that were there speaking. It was kind of fun, talking to Jason Mitchell. We were able to talk to Marcus Quam, who was that gave us reports in the past. So, I mean, it's just fun to kind of see a lot of those guys and just get talking to them.
Yep. I was really, one thing that I want to say is how approachable a lot of these guys are,
Oh, definitely.
I mean, they're just regular guys that want to talk fishing. I mean, me and Grady walked right up to Jason Mitchell and talked about fishing. He's been fishing for a month already. He signed a rod for Grady, and I can't stress enough at just how approachable he was, and how genuine and nice of a guy he really was.
Most of those guys are that way. I mean, you can go up to them, have a conversation with them. I mean, their passion is fishing, just like our passion is fishing. We have that in common. You start talking about it, next thing you know, you talk to them for 10, 15 minutes.
Yep.
And it's never be intimidated by going up there and talking to some of those guys.
Right. Did you take anything home with you that day?
I did buy a couple of new 13 fishing rods that, looking forward to use. One that is pretty similar to the one I already have, but I like it so much I figured I better have another one. I got some new Northland jigs, the rattle spoons. Can never go wrong with those. A few tungsten jigs as well. Yeah, that was kind of the majority of what I got. What about yourself?
Well, we picked up that rod that we had Jason sign for Grady. That was a Jason Mitchell clam rod. I don't even know the model on it. It was the cheapest one, and it said Jason Mitchell on it. So I
think it was one of his, the 34-inch dead meat stick, I think is what they call it now.
Yep, I think you're right on that. And I got a new rod coming from Glacial Lakes up there, Jim Gerard, making for me, and I got a 13 Wicked Ice reel that I'm going to be putting on that when I get it. And
I really like those Wicked Ice reels.
Got the long stem
on it. The long stem. I like the long stem. I was just actually talking to my dad and my brother Mike about this yesterday. It's so nice because it fits right into your hand, even when you have like a glove on. That's where I like it the most. You can be outside hole hopping, and if it's a colder day and you got your gloves on, it's not impeding like your reeling and all that stuff. And I really, really like that long stem reel.
Yeah, I had originally picked up a clam reel because it was what I thought was a decent price. And then I looked over in that 13 one and not taking anything away from the clam, but the 13 seemed lighter in the package. And I like that long stem, so that's the one that I decided to go with. Speaking of Scheels and any bait shop, one of the things, well, did you have anything that you wanted to add to the Scheels Ice Expo? Or
No, it was a good time.
it was a good time?
It was, had fun. It's fun seeing Grady walking around, like the amount of people that had kids there. I think that was pretty cool. There was a lot of kids. I mean, so that's neat to see everybody getting the next generation involved in some way.
Yep. Next thing that we're going to move to is with Christmas right around the corner, we decided that we would put together, each of us came up with 3 things under $50 and then one big ticket item that if you have an ice fisherman on your list, these are things that, you can buy them and, they're not going to break the bank. They're good quality items and, yeah.
Just things that, sometimes might be overlooked, things that have kind of piqued our interest this winter, so to say, yeah, it is right around the corner, the inner Clark Griswold in all of us is getting all set.
Yeah, you've had all your Christmas shopping done since September, right, Matt?
Yep, I get it done early and to, avoid the crowds. I'm just not a big crowd person.
Yeah.
So, I like getting out there. I especially love Black Friday shopping. I think that's like my passion besides fishing. If I had to go on a scale, I think that Black Friday shopping would be right behind fishing.
Yeah. Did you go Black Friday shopping for pheasants this year?
No, I didn't, but I do go Black Friday shopping for dog food. That's the one thing I do get on Black Friday.
Nice. So, Matt, you want to start us off with what you have for the under $50 items?
Yeah, I kind of ranked them as kind of like 1 through 3 here. I guess one thing that's kind of intrigued me this year that I've seen is the iFish Pro tip-up. I see a lot of people starting to run that. It's kind of what it is it's not like a traditional tip-up that we know of, that you put the tip up down the ice hole and it's got like a little spool reel on it, and you string out, you put a sucker on there or a minnow or something like that, and you put it out and the flag comes up and you run over there and you got to hand reel it in. Basically what it is kind of a tip-up that you set, and it's basically like a big strike indicator is what it is. You just take one of your regular fishing rods, you set it up in there. It's kind of like a rod holder bite strike indicator in one, and there's like a clip that you put on to your line, and then when it starts taking line, all of a sudden the flag comes up. It's open bail, so it's free spool. The fish can take the line that it needs, and you just run over there and move everything out of your way and tighten it up, feel the fish, set the hook. Now you're fighting it on a regular rod, which is a lot easier to do than hand reeling it in.
Well, and half the fun of catching a fish is the fight on a rod.
Oh, that drag. I mean, you just can't go wrong with that old drag screaming.
Yep.
Another thing, I think that it's overlooked. Not only we're not just talking about for ice fishermen some of these gifts. I think that thing that gets overlooked this time of year is your summer equipment.
Yep, definitely.
I mean,
and probably better deals on it right now, too.
Oh, huge deals. I mean, I'm not going to lie, when we were at Scheels this last week, and for a little while, I went over into the open water section, had the aisles to myself. They had some fishing rods on sale, normally $180 for like $74. So, I mean, if you're looking to get into a high-end rod, now's the time really to buy one, because they do have super awesome deals on them. And people always think that everybody's always, these guys are using these high-end rods and stuff like that. No, fish with what you can afford.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what I always say. If you can afford it, then get it. But, I mean, yeah, now's the time of year to get that summer fishing, because a lot of it's on clearance out. They're trying to make some room for next year's inventory. And, now's the time to do it. I mean, Rapalas, a guy can never have enough crankbaits.
Oh, no.
I mean, and as far as that goes, we talked about this before. You and I have colors, Oh, what colors do I get them? Any color. I mean, and if you're worried that, they already got that color, believe me, they want more of that color.
Yep, there's a reason that they got that color, because they like that color.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong with your old standards Fire Tiger and things like that. I mean, if you're ever confused, just, get them some Fire Tiger.
You ever heard a guy say, golly, I got too many Fire Tiger Rapalas?
Nope. All right, the next one, and and the last one too is, you don't necessarily think about it sometimes either, is a fishing license.
Yeah.
Buy somebody a fishing license. I mean, that's a great gift. Here in Iowa, a resident an annual resident fishing license is $19 a year. I think is what it was this year. I don't think it's going to... I've heard things like prices might go up,
Yeah.
but that's about every year. Every few years it seems like a license goes up.
Yeah, you're going to be in that $20 ballpark.
Yeah, and then as far as a non-resident goes, it's $41. Minnesota resident annual license is $25. Non-resident is $51. South Dakota is $28 for residents. Non-residents is like $67. And then North Dakota resident license, I think, is like right around that $17 range, and non-residents that $47 range. So I mean, if you have somebody on your list that enjoys fishing, buy them a license.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't got any 2019 licenses yet, so if anyone wants to spend a little extra money on me and Matt this year, we'll take a couple fishing licenses.
And the thing about it is some of these licenses are ending pretty soon.
Right.
Like
yeah,
the
Iowa,
2018,
January 15, I believe.
Yeah, it's like right in there is when it goes. So I mean, the worst thing is, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're sitting there the night before you're going to go fishing, and it's like, oh, I don't have my license. It expired today. So now you got to get a new one. I mean, and the nice thing now is that you can get them online. So if you got a printer at home or something like that, you can print it right out. A lot of states allow you, if you have a smartphone, just to take a screenshot, and I mean, you can show that to the conservation officer as well. So, that's probably one of my top three as far as those things go. How about yours?
Actually, on my Christmas list this year, the Clam Soft Plastics folder. It's basically a 2-ring binder, and it comes with 8 PVC sheets, 4 pockets per sheet, so a total of 32 plastics packages can be fit in there. And for me, I don't fish a ton with plastics, but I've been trying to get into it the last year or two. It seems like all my jigs, all my plastics, I don't ever actually put them in the case. They end up in the pockets of my coat and the bottom of my shack, whatever. And I really feel like hopefully if I get something like that I can stay a little bit more organized. That retails for $19.99. You might be able to find it on sale somewhere, at these ice expos. I didn't look for it. I know that I already told someone in my family that that's what I wanted. I'm planning on that's something that I'll be getting come Christmas, and yeah, I can't wait to put my plastics in there. The other thing that I've got on there, Vexilar Glow Ring. They're a neat little light. They double as a rod holder. It's a round deal that has UV LED lights inside of it, and for these jigs that have glow paint on them.
Yeah, they have that UV paint, yeah.
Yep, you drop it in there, and it says that it fully charges it in 1 second. These things connect to a Vexilar battery, or if you have an extra battery, that you take along with you to run lights or whatever, they come with alligator clips. And yeah, they're $29.99, and I think I'm really impressed. I think that's going to be a neat little deal for $29.99. Another thing that I got on there is the Bait Up Personal Carry Live Bait Container. Neat little container, plastic, see-through deal. It's got lids on each side of the cylinder, and then it's got a floating basket inside of it. You fill it up with your minnows, and you tip it upside down. The basket floats to the top, and you can easily grab your minnows. You don't got to go chasing around for them in your cup. For us, we normally go out there with a small cooler full of minnows, and you can fill this thing up with the minnows that you're going to need for a little while. Go to your shack, and yeah, I think it's going to be a neat little thing. You don't got to reach into the water, get your hand wet, and yeah, I think for what it is, it's a neat little contraption. It
does look pretty cool. I mean, nothing worse than wet hands when you're out there, just from always reaching in to get minnows. I mean, it's one thing if you're always catching fish and your hands are getting cold, you can sustain that.
Oh yeah.
But it's just when you're sitting in there, it's just little things like that people don't think about.
Yep. I think last year I was up on Lake Ponset, and one of the guys who we were with had one, and then I think my brother bought one last year, and I just yeah, I saw them. I thought, wow, those things are cool. And I haven't bit the bullet and bought one yet. They have two different sizes, a 20 and a 35, and I don't know if that means 20 small minnows and 35 small minnows, but they're $19.99 for the 20 and $24.99 for the 35. So, you know, not something that's going to break the bank. You know, if you're a person that fishes with minnows quite often, pretty cool little deal. And now we each got one big ticket item.
Bigger one, you know, right around that $100 or more range. I mean, for some people they might not think, oh, that's a big ticket item, you know, $100 isn't that much. Well, it is. I mean, when you're talking about equipment and stuff like that. I guess mine that I would kind of think is all these new lithium batteries is kind of like the new thing a lot of people are going for. You can get like these Dakota lithium batteries. It's a 12-volt battery that a lot of people are using to run their Vexlar or Markham or their hummingbirds and stuff like that. They're electronics. They're flashers and sonar units. It's 60% lighter than a regular 12-volt battery, which, I mean, a couple pounds difference.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you're hole hopping all day long, I mean, it makes a huge difference as far as fatigue goes as the day goes. It lasts a lot longer. You can get a lot more time on charges. A lot of people, kind of the new craze lately, the last few years, seems to be like power boxes.
Yep.
You know, people are starting to have these power boxes where they have USB ports in them. They have like LED lights on them. I mean, you can plug all kinds of different things into them. And if you can have a lithium battery that you can run more things off of and it lasts longer, it kind of seems like the way to go. And those are right around $100, like $99, I think, is what you can get one of those for.
Yep. Are those lithium batteries? They're supposed to do better in the cold too, correct?
Yep, I believe so.
Yep. Yeah, they're cool. I'll probably invest in one at some point. But,
yeah, same here.
My big ticket item, nothing worse than cold feet.
Ugh,
and
nothing.
yeah, Lacrosse came out with a new set of boots called the Aero Insulator. They're 2.5 pounds per boot. They're good down to -60 and up to 32 degrees. Waterproof. If you've ever owned Lacrosse boots, you know the quality.
I love my Lacrosses.
They're about as good as what you can get. I've made the mistake of buying different brands of rubber boots, and I won't say that all different brands of rubber boots are bad, but I mean, Lacrosses are good. I had a chance to try them on. They're on my Christmas list this year, and I believe I'm going to be getting those also. I tried them on up at Scheels, and God, for as big of a boot and the insulation that they got in them, I was really pretty impressed with, you know, the weight of them and comfortable.
That's good.
They were good boots.
That's kind of the thing that you've seen the last few years too, is a lot of these companies are starting to make products related to ice fishing.
Yep.
It always used to be, you know, you just wear your insulated hunting boots as your ice fishing boots. And now you're starting to see that trend of where some of these companies are saying, hey, let's make one specific for ice fishing, maybe a little thicker sole so that you're up off the ice a little bit more insulation in there and stuff like that. And, you know, you talk about cold feet. Yeah, there is nothing worse.
Yep.
I mean, and I think one common mistake a lot of people make as far as cold feet goes is they wear too many socks.
Yep.
I mean, I think we kind of have this old thinking that, oh, the more socks I put on, the warmer my foot's going to be, when actually it cuts the blood flow restriction off to your feet, and it kind of works against you. So if you can get a nice insulated boot like that and a nice pair of like merino wool socks or something, I mean, you should be able to fish all day long and still be able to feel your toes at the end of the day.
Yep. I think Clam and Striker both have socks out on the market now,
and boots.
Yep. And you know, I'm sure that there's just regular off-brand socks that are going to do just as good also.
And I mean, if they wanted to send us some pairs to try out, we definitely do that for them.
Guy can never have too much socks. I'll give it a shot.
Oh, and boots.
Yep, and boots.
and you know, as far as it goes, both of our lists there, just some general ideas. There's a lot of other things out there. And never forget gift cards.
Yep.
I mean, I know that some people, it's like, oh, but it's a gift card. I don't like giving a gift card as a gift. But believe me, I'm one of those that if you don't know exactly what, just give me a gift card.
Yeah,
and I will be more than happy about that. Are you the same way?
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know, one thing with gift cards, if somebody does give me a gift card, I like to go back, you know, a month down the road after I've used that gift card and tell them like, hey, this is what I bought with it. And then I
show
think,
them what you
yeah,
bought. That's a great idea.
I think that's, you know, I think people think that a gift card is, you know, maybe the easy way out, but I think if you actually go and show them, you know, like, yeah, I bought a new set of boots with that gift card, you know, I've been wearing them ice fishing, I love them, you know, thanks a lot. Then I think, you know, they can kind of put an item to, you know, where their money went, and I think it's easier for them to give you a gift card again next time. And, you know, Scheels or any of these small bait shops, you know, they have gift cards, and you know, these small bait shops would be happy to sell you a gift card.
Yeah, most places you go into, I mean, I think over at the lakes, you know, Iowa Great Lakes, you go over there to some of them bait shops. That I think I've seen a few of them on their Facebook saying, you know, we got gift cards, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, the big stores. And the nice thing about it, too, is a lot of them work online.
Yep, that's true. You know, I'm a Scheels guy, but don't ever forget about the small bait shops. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Those are. It's always good to, you know, support those small local businesses.
Yep. Matt, comes a time, you know, we were kind of talking, you know, we always talk of, you know, when we're going to and from fishing, and it seems like we've always got some crazy stories. You got any crazy fishing stories that?
Oh, I think any person that has ever been fishing has plenty of fishing stories. I mean, that's half of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
that's almost better than the fish is.
There's actually, you know, one of my ultimate things that I wish I could have done in my life is just to go out with my grandpa and his two brothers and just sit in the boat and listen to their stories, because I heard a lot of the stories outside of it, you know, outside of them fishing, but to be actually in there with them and sitting there and hear it would have been unreal. Because I mean, as much as we laugh hearing the stories outside of it, just to be there and be a part of one of them would have been something special.
I went fishing with you and your dad that one time out on Silver Lake.
Jig and Joe,
and Matt and Jig and Joe were going at it pretty good. You know, that my dad's a pretty soft-spoken guy. He's not much of a joker and whatnot. You know, to see you two go at it was like, hey, are they gonna get off this boat and still be friends? Or?
Well, my dad's used to it, believe me.
I believe it.
Three
boys.
There's a reason that we call him Jig and Joe.
Yep.
No, I guess, you know, one that kind of comes to mind is this summer. You know, my wife Emily and I, we were over at Spirit Lake, and we were fishing and kind of wanted to. You and I were on a hot jig bite wrap earlier in the year on East, and I was like, oh, let's go over to Spirit Lake and see how this works. And I figured, you know, maybe if we can get on them, she'd really enjoy doing that. So she'd never done it before. So I'm like, oh, let's go give it a try. So we're out there on Spirit Lake, and it's a dead calm day. It is hot. I mean, there's nobody else out there. I guess that should have been one, you know, kind of one light bulb that went off, like, maybe the bite's not that good. But then again, the stubbornness in me was kind of like, you know what, we're going to figure these fish out.
Send it.
So we get out there, and we're going, and, you know, I'm in the back of the boat, she's in the front, and going along, and it's kind of like, hey, I could tell she's getting a little frustrated that, you know, we're not catching anything, and the weeds had kind of grown up on the bottom of the lake. So if you're jig wrapping, obviously, I mean, we had to find some sandier bottom or muddier bottom so that we weren't getting snagged up all the time.
Yep.
Well, you know, when you're jig wrapping, a lot of times you're letting it hit the bottom and you're ripping it up off there. And then when you go to rip it off, all of a sudden it's like, boom, there's a fish. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, she's going and going. Pretty soon she goes to rip up, and that rod just does not move. It just bends, and it's just like, boom, and it's like, oh boy. It's like, here we go. This is what we've been waiting for.
Fish on?
That's what it was. It was ooh, ooh, ooh up at the front of the boat, because that's usually how she tells me she has a fish on. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I look up there, and she's battling this thing, and it's taking line, it's doing this. I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Not only does she have her first deer up on the wall before I do, now she's going to have her first walleye up on the wall before I do. You know, she's catching one to go up there. And she's fighting it in, it's not moving very much. It will come a little ways. So, you know, then it starts to think, I'm like, okay, man, maybe she's got a big muskie on. Yep. You know, because there's some big ones in Spirit Lake. So I'm like, all right, you know, and she's getting tired, and she's just like, you know, oh, man. And she's battling it. I mean, I'm getting the net ready. Well, then it's starting to come up. I'm like, all right, here we go. It's tired up. We get it up to where we can see it, and it's just like, ooh, okay, it's big. It's definitely big, whatever it is. Yeah, she had snagged a carp, this thing had to be all of 40 pounds, right underneath of the head. So, it's digging with the head shakes, and she's disappointed when we get it up that it's like, and I'm worried about the $5 jigging raft that's on there. I was like, don't break the line.
Don't lose that jigging raft.
That's my favorite color. Don't lose it, And so I got the net, and I'm like, well, I figure I'll just net this thing. Well, about the time I go down there to net it, it takes off. And, we're talking wicked tuna here. There should have been we got deep color. There should have been, cameramen on the boat with us. How that old line and that pole go swinging around on that show, and it's like, get out of the way of the line. Well, that line comes, and it smacks me upside the head, knocks my hat off, knocks my expensive Costa Del Mar polarized sunglasses off my head. Well, Len pops out. Into the water they go. So I'm not worried about the fish or anything anymore. I have the net in my hand, and I go to scoop up my sunglasses and the lens. I'm like, I hope to God that they both go into the net. And Emily sees my glasses going, and she's like, oh no. She drops the fishing pole into the bottom of the boat. And I go and I get the glasses scooped up, and she's reaching out into the water trying to get them too. And I turn and I look at the rod. It's in the back of the boat over the transom, just sitting there bent over, just like boom, 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 like going. I'm like, grab your rod, so we don't lose that too. And so she grabs it and stuff, and we end up battling it and getting into the boat. But when we got it done, it was just like, she was done. I'm done. She says, I'm done. The white flag came out. She threw it in. She's like, nope. It was pretty wild. There for 30 seconds in the boat, it got real.
Real wild.
You look at, like I said, you watch some of them TV shows. I was waiting for Bon Jovi to start playing, Deadliest Catch, Wanted Dead or Alive in the back. I was like, here we are out there in the Bering Sea, oh yeah, man overboard.
Yeah.
So
that's a good one.
That was a pretty good one, a recent one as far as that goes.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you got as far as some wild stories?
Well, I've not done a ton of open water fishing just in the last couple of years with you, but I would say it was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm trying to think if it was Winter Games weekend up at Okoboji. But me and Eric were out on Miller's Bay, and for those of you that don't know Miller's Bay, it's probably a half-mile by half-mile bay in West Lake Okoboji, and then in the bay is Little Miller's, and there's a big long rock point that comes out, and that's probably eighth of a mile by eighth of a mile, maybe. I don't really know what it would be in there, but right at the end of that big rock point is there always seems to be open water there.
Yeah, it's notorious for, yeah.
Yep, and like I said, I think that this was a little bit later in the year, and it had finally kind of froze over there, and me and Eric are out there fishing, and kind of paying attention down our holes, paying attention to our Vexilars, whatever, and all of a sudden, just loud kaboom, and the water came squirting out of our holes and whatever, and it was like, holy smokes, what in the world just happened? And so we rip the Velcros down on our windows, and we look out, and there is a Ford Excursion that went through the ice right out there on the end of that.
Oh, wow.
Yep, right out there on the end of it. And, it felt like, I don't know how long it was, but people were bailing out of the windows or whatever. And, yeah, there was nothing that we could do. They got everyone, everyone was out, whatever.
Oh, that's
but
good.
Yeah, we stayed, and I don't think it's super deep there, maybe 4 foot or something,
Yeah.
Enough that they could crawl out the windows. They couldn't get their doors open, but yeah, that was really something. You hear about it, you see pictures of it, but to actually see it when it happened, that was really something. And I'll never forget how loud it was. And Miller's Bay can be a loud place with the augers going and people driving around, snowmobiles, whatever. But yeah, God, it was so loud, and like I said, the water came shooting out of the hole. You knew something was up. And
it almost had to make you feel for a second like you might be going down with the water coming up out of your hole.
Yeah, we were probably, I don't know, I would say 30 yards away from it, and we've had good bluegill action right in that spot, and I don't remember that particular day, but yeah, I mean, we know walk there, don't go out on
Well, there's spots over there at Miller's Bay that that it's like, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. There's like some springs or something in there.
Yeah, I think that lake is spring fed, and I got a feeling that's one of them right there. And I mean, it always seems like there's open water there, and you can get fairly close to that open water, but yeah, not with a car, you can't. But,
yeah, might want to avoid that. I mean, if not a good way to drill a hole.
Yep, I had never seen that pontoon deal that they come out with.
Yeah, that's pretty neat to watch the water recovery come out there and get those things.
It's a horseshoe-looking pontoon with a bunch of winches and all sorts of stuff on there, and yeah, they drive right around that car, and they I don't know exactly where they hooked onto. I don't remember if they had divers or if they could do it from the side, but yeah, they started cranking, and slowly but surely that Ford Excursion, I think it was probably a diesel, but yeah, came slowly coming out of there, and they rolled it away from the hole, and that was that. But yeah, that's one of those deals that I'll probably never forget. That was, I'm glad everyone was okay. That's that's number one. But looking back on it, that was pretty wild.
Yeah, you're not going to get much more wild than that than seeing a vehicle go through
Yep. But, well, yeah, no, I think.
We're getting there. I mean, keep giving us feedback, guys. We like it. I mean, like Scott said earlier, as far as the microphones went last week, hopefully this week we got it changed and everything. We're getting a lot of people that are commenting on this podcast, so it's pretty cool to starting to see our following. I mean, our Facebook likes are getting up there. Where are we all? We're all on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube,
Google Play Music, and YouTube. That's our 4 outlets, and yeah, I mean, subscribe, like them, share them,
If you guys, ever have any, we had somebody message us a report the other day, or today was it?
Yeah.
Somebody was talking about how
Big
Stone Lake up there by
12 feet of water, doing good on perch, and
yeah, I mean, giving us some reports. So never be afraid to, message us on Facebook about those things. If you know us personally, have our phone numbers, shoot us a text message, something like that. I mean, we're always looking for those tips, whether it go for fishing reports or just maybe how we can improve this. Maybe some topics that you guys have out there that maybe we could cover, or questions that you have for us that we could answer while we're doing one of these too.
Yep, we did get a message for a topic on one of the upcoming shows from our friend Luke. Luke, we didn't forget about it. Just won't be today's episode. Maybe next week's or the week after that. But yeah, if you've got something that you want to hear us talk about, tell us what you do like, what you don't like.
Yeah, that's how we're going to improve this thing. I mean, help from you guys, and we'll just keep working at it. Getting here close to Christmas and everything like that. We hope everybody, has safe and happy holiday seasons here coming up. Getting out on the ice.
Stay on the top side.
Yeah, definitely. Don't be bringing any Ford Excursions out there, it sounds like, especially in Miller's Bay early on.
Not yet.
But it is nice that, Okoboji, Spirit Lake, and all those lakes are starting to ice up pretty good now, and There's been people out there. There's still some spot. Obviously, guys, it's not go out there, let's go full bore. I mean, you still got to be cautious down here. Up north, they're starting to get a lot of ice where people are actually starting to drive on some of the lakes up there. We're just starting to finally get some walkable ice out here. So just, keep caution down here. Get out there. The bite is hot. I mean, yeah, get out on the ice. Get some kids out there this winter too.
Yep. Yeah. As far as Iowa, I think Clear Lake is still doing good.
Yep.
Get over to Clear Lake if you're in Iowa and you don't want to go out of the state to fish. If you want thicker ice, Clear Lake. I'm sure that there's some other spots around. If you're willing to walk and you're not afraid of 3 inches of ice, there's going to be some spots on Okoboji. Otherwise, if you're willing to go out of state, travel north, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. There.
I think we talked about maybe making a South Dakota run this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, I got some friends going up to Big Stone, so maybe that's in the or one of the options also. But
Yeah, we'll definitely try to get out there and hopefully be able to bring you guys a report from ourselves here on the next
Finally.
one. Yeah, finally. I'm getting kind of, I think we're both kind of getting tired of, looking at Ramsey and listening to his stories about all the fish that he is going to catch this winter and everything like that compared to us. So
first time out, I'm going to beat him down. I'm
Yeah.
going to beat him down, and I'm going to send him a Snapchat of every single fish.
maybe we just won't invite him to go fishing with us, and then we'll just go fishing, and every one we catch, we'll just send him a picture of it.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Sorry, Ramsey.
Sorry, Ramsey, if you're hearing this, we're fishing.
Yeah, our phones weren't on. Sorry.
Yeah, we never got that text message from you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. See you around.